What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Bullish Chips, where we use a proven and repeatable strategy to make money every day. This channel happens to focus on the Bullish Semiconductor ETF, which goes by the ticker symbol SOXL. But the charting method and the trading method that we use can be implemented with any company that's publicly traded in the U.S. stock market. So make sure you hit that like button if you enjoy this video. It really helps the channel grow. And thank you to all those who continue to tune in. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell as well. That way you're notified when we release new videos. We do have bonus content that we release from time to time, so you want to make sure you are alerted to when we release those. Now the nightly and the weekend videos, like tonight's video, mostly focus on identifying triggers and targets for trades ranging from, scalps and intraday trades all the way up to long-term swings or leap trades. So if you want a deeper dive into, exactly how we set up our charts, make sure you check out that bonus content that we talked about. We have a couple of videos that dive deeper into, the broadening formations, levels of support and resistance, things of that nature. So check those out if you want to find more information about how we set up our charts. And if you want some free information about the strat, there's a quick reference PDF in the description of this video. So I do encourage you to, stay with us through the full video. Not only do we give triggers and targets, we give some pretty good, insight basically into price action on all time frames. So let's go ahead and get into the agenda. First, we'll recap the price action from Friday, December 19th. Then we will zoom out like we always do, get level set, and check the week, month, quarter, and year charts. Then we will look at the market maker's expected move for the week of December 26th, shortened holiday week. And then we'll zoom back in to set the 4-hour markers and triggers and targets for Monday, December 22nd. We'll look at the triggers and targets for the week of December 6th overall. And then we will take a quick review of the triggers and targets for the month, quarter, and year. So just looking at the intraday chart today, starting out with the 5-minute like we always do. We like to start here because we can identify, early entries into scalps in the morning, when the market opens, or get ourselves into, the direction of whatever the day is going to trend a little bit earlier than, some may take to wait for things to be established. So what we do is we look for the opening print. That's the first traded price of the day. And we look for higher lows above opening print to get into calls, and we look for lower highs below opening print to get into puts. Right now, your targets to the upside are overnight high, previous high day. Targets to the downside are overnight low and previous low day. But that's what we look for: higher lows at or above opening print to get into calls, lower highs at or below opening print to get into puts. So we can see. We had the previous low day all the way down here at the bottom of the chart, overnight low down here, basically at previous low day. Then we have overnight high here in the middle of the chart here, this blue dash line, light blue dash line, and previous high day, this orange solid line. So if we look at today's price action, right, we opened, let's make this a little bigger so everyone can see it. We opened here right at the month flip. Right, so below this price, 39, what was it, 39.59. Sorry, I couldn't really read that down there. 39.59. If we went below that, then the month was red, or is red, and then if we're above it, the month is green. So we opened right at that level, a pretty major level, and shot immediately up. Now, if you're on the 1 minute, I don't even think there was a lower high here, but what it did do, you see we're right at previous high day. The 4-hour 4-hour trigger to the upside in the morning was right here at 39.80. So it immediately triggered that 2-1-2 up continuation from yesterday, right? So you could have went ahead and entered at that 4-hour mark. If you wanted to wait for a little bit safer entry, we did get the higher low up here. It was already above previous high day, so it triggered the day strat as well. But we were already above the market maker's expected move high at that point. So you could have went ahead and entered calls here once we locked this, in as a soft higher low here, and went ahead and try to get that extra push up. But there wasn't really anything there. Again, we talk about the market maker's expected move. If you're not familiar with that, check out Thursday's video or the weekend video where we talk in depth more about those. Like, we'll get into that tonight. And that's not an end all be all level. It's not like price has to reverse and go back down or sideways at 40.59, but there's a 70% chance that its price stays within the market maker's expected move. So the further you are from that, the less likely it is you're going to get that much bigger of a push, right? So you could have went ahead and taken that. You got the higher low here, but then you got the lower high right here. And so as soon as you breached the low of this candle here, you could went ahead and sold, or should have sold, basically, if you're playing by the rules of higher lows and lower highs. So that would have been a minor loss here. If you are familiar with this channel, you know that we don't trade very heavily, or we trade lightly on Friday. And with that type of move, with the overnight price action, right, we were already basically at previous day's high. So there was a higher probability of inventory correction to the downside. And we were waiting for that better pullback to give us a trigger to the upside, but we didn't really get it, right? So we knew that we have the 4-hour downtrend line coming through here. Again, don't put a whole lot of weight into that until it's actually crossing over a horizontal line, a major horizontal line that we do use or put more weight in. So we did know it was looming, right? So we knew we could have probably pushed up to it, but again, no reason to go too much on the risky side of things. We had a good week and just wanted to hang on to the profits. Now, if you were able to hold out and wait through that little pullback and just wait out the grind to the upside, congratulations to you. I'm glad you were able to do that. That just doesn't fit into our trading style, so that's not something we did. But always trade your style. Don't just trade what somebody else does. So not a lot of action for us today, but overall it was a good day. We were up 8%, or SOXL was up 8%. So those swings, going into January, if you're trying to play that Santa Claus rally, looked like they're going to be doing pretty well. So far, so good. The week, well, let's take a look at that 1 hour real quick. We did get let's get a better chart here. We did get a higher low here, right? So yesterday, or Thursday, when we did get that little push down at 130, it was it ended up being a higher low, right? So let's make this bigger so people can see. There we go. So here was the initial low on Thursday. This was the second low, but it was a higher low, ended up being a higher low. We didn't know until today when we went 2 up, but that ended up being a higher low. So we do have a higher low, higher high, coming after a lower high. So it's this trend reversal, right? So we were in the downtrend on the 1 hour, and it seems to be reversing on the 1 hour. Now we've got to go to the 4 hour. If we look here, yes, we've made a higher high if we're counting this as a solid lower high. I'm sorry. This bearish engulfing candle. Most of the time we like to count those as soft lower highs or soft higher lows or whatever it is in that position, because it all happened in one candle. Not as much weight as if we get like a 2 up followed by a 2 down, locking that in as a solid lower high. So in our opinion, we haven't quite made the higher high on the 4 hour. Now that's not the biggest problem in the world, right? Because a lot of times, just like on the 1 hour, you make a lower high before you make a higher low. So, we've got to continue to watch how Monday opens. We did close with the red candle. Now it is up at the top of the day. So, take for that what it's worth. It's, more than likely just an, afternoon sell-off before going into this holiday week. But we do have to keep in mind there is this one combo 2 up, 2 down possibility on the board where it would just take us back to the lows of Friday. If it were to run that strat, which would play in properly with this 4 hour downtrend line. So that doesn't mean that we're not going to break this, but if we reject here, just look for a higher low, and we've got plenty of room to put a higher low. You can come all the way down to 35.49 before we put in a lower low. So if we do reject here on Monday and pull back, just look for a higher low, maybe around this last month's 50% level, right? We've talked about how that's been a pretty good support resistance level. That also pretty much lines up with the month flip as well. So, flip the month red real quick, maybe draw in some bears just to push back up, flip the month green. And especially if the week is green, we're in full time frame continuity to the upside, and really the bulls are in control. So it would be just treated as a bullish pullback. But this red candle, red 2-up candle, the second 4 hour of Friday, looks more just like bullish consolidation to me than anything else. If we look at the day chart, right, we've locked this in as a lower, a higher low. I don't know why I'm stumbling over my tongue today, but we have locked this in as a higher low on the day. Right, here's the higher high, higher low. We had a broadening formation that we're in, so it does look like we could start the bounce again, just like with the 4 hour. We could push up, reject off of maybe last week's 50% level, something like that, and give ourselves a pullback. But from and make a lower high. But again, just like the 1 hour, a lot of times you'll make that lower high before you make that higher low, and then continue to push up. So we're just trying to reverse the trend. Day never really got in a true downtrend, but we got to continue to watch out for that, because again, just like we have the 1 combo 2 up 2 down possibility in the 4 hour, we have this 1 2 up 2 down possibility on the day. Right, so we don't want to get too far ahead of our skis too quick, but it does look like we are reversing trend back to the upside. We'll zoom out a little bit more here, get ourselves a clearer chart, and look at the week perspective. And we talk a lot about this bull flag that we had from this April 7th low up to this July high, and then this range that we had from basically June to September of going from 24 to 20, bouncing between 24 and 28. So we've got this bull flag here, right? We've got the real light fib extensions up here, but you can see how we're continuing to stay above this 61.8 fib extension. So that's definitely more bullish. We've got this more hammer candle structure on the week. It is a red candle, but we do have the hammer structure showing that the bears tried to push it down and the bulls bought it back up. Not quite able to flip it back green, but brought back inside the previous week's range. So that's always more of a bullish leaning indicator for us, right? Now we do have the possibility to continue to go down. We're coming from a lower high on the week, so we've got to continue to watch to make sure that the week is not flipping trend, right? If we go and make a lower low, now we've got a lower high, lower low, and we're looking at a downtrend on the week. At the same time, if we push down and we still make a higher low above that lower low level, then we're just ranging here. So we're looking at sideways action. But if we do go 2 up, that does trigger this 2 down, 2 up, magnitude being the high of the previous week, which doesn't give us a higher high on the week perspective, but it is the first step in getting there, especially if we can do that by the end of the month, because that does give us the 2 up on the month, locking in the previous month as a higher low, right? Let's look at this month chart, and we can see, there we go. November was that 2 down. We're still an inside month in December. We are green. We're up towards that upper half of the candle of the previous month's candle. So if we can push up and make that higher high on the week, initially that will trigger the 2 up on the month, locking this in as a higher low, and then we ultimately want to give above this 50.76 level to make the higher high on the month, because we want to start that uptrend. We've got this soft higher low here. We want to really lock in this solid higher low here. Right, we've reached this high here, giving us a higher high in terms of higher low, higher high trend perspective. But we have got, just because we have the higher high doesn't mean we've changed trend. We've got to lock in this higher low. All right, looking at it from the quarter perspective, don't want to sound like a broken record if you're familiar with this channel, but you know what we've got here. Initially, we triggered this 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up at the beginning of this quarter. We did pull back, but we are back above that trigger level, so we are in force. So with this 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up, the target is the high of the candle to the left of the 1, and that's that 70.08. All right, and that's the same thing for the year, right? We started off the year with this 1 2 up 2 down, but we were able to make a higher low. It pushed up, hammered up, got a green candle now, and if we can go, finish towards the top of the candle at the end of the year, go 2 up in 2026, that gives us a 2 down, 2 up with that magnitude of 70.08 again. All right. So that's what we've got from a zoomed in view to a zoomed out view. Let's go ahead and take a look at the, here we go. Look at the market maker's expected move for the week of December 26th. To do that, let's go ahead and bring up our options chain here. This is Thinkorswim. If we look at the options chain for December 26th and we go over to the right here, we see this number in parentheses, plus or minus $3 or 3.513. That's telling us that the market makers expect a plus or minus $3.51 move, right? So if we look at the close of Friday, that's 41.72. You add $3.51, that's 45.23. Subtract $3.51, that's 38.21. So that gives us a range that the market makers expect us to trade in the week of December 26th, between 45.23 and 38.21. All right. So it showing the this is the week fib, previous week fib, right? So this is the high of last week, or what will be last week, depending on when you're watching this. This is the high of the week of December 19th. This was the 50% level of the week of December 19th, and this was the low of the week of December 19th. So seeing how this market maker's expected move low is within range and the high is above range, that would implicate going 2 up on the week, or it is 2 up on the week. So moving higher is what they are suggesting. But again, that's just market maker's expected move. Price usually stays within that range 70% of the time. Just like, this week we saw with the market maker's expected move for Friday, we went above it. So it doesn't mean price has to reject here, or even just go sideways, but it is a major level that you want to think about. Now, if we look here, I've got this fib line here. This is the 78.6 fib retracement of the November, of the range from November 2025. So if we pull back a little bit here, and let's go with the day so we can see the dates at the bottom. Right, here we go. So from 11/3, so the first trading day in November, down to the low of November, that's the fib level that we have here, right? So that lines up pretty much perfectly with the market maker's expected move high, market maker's expected move low, essentially lining up with last week's 50% level, which is lining up with last month's 50% level. So we should see some pretty good support here if we do get some pullback, right? Let's go ahead and zoom on in and set our 4-hour markers and our triggers and targets for Monday, and we'll get into the week here in a second. What we've got on the chart here is, I'm trying to make it big enough for everyone to see if you're on phone or whatever. Tablet, here we go. So we have on the board our 4-hour markers, right? We've got our overnight high as of Friday's overnight trading. This may move by Monday's open, and then we've got overnight low. This may move by Monday's open as well. So let's just say that it does. Let's just say overnight low is somewhere down here. And let's get the right tool out. And let's say we just open in somewhere inside the range. Oops. Right. Somewhere inside the overnight range, maybe just slightly below where we closed on Friday, right? So if we talk about that repeatable strategy that we use every day, starting at the open, we look for that opening print level, and if we push up, maybe we reject off a previous high day, we pull back, but then we get a higher low at or above this opening print level, then we want to look to get into calls. Now in this case, previous high a day would be the first target, and then overnight high. So not a lot of magnitude there. So if we do get to this level, obviously we'd look at our notes for the triggers and targets on the 4-hour and in the 1 day and things of that nature. We can look at those, but I do want to point out that we do have this 15-minute broadening formation right here. So it is a good possibility that even if we do push up, reach those 2 targets, that we do either move sideways or pull back back into range. So just watch those levels from just that proven strategy that we're talking about, that is the ultimate target. So, it would be no shame in unloading your whole scalp position at that point if you do that. Now, to the downside, right, if we open and we push down, maybe we bounce off an overnight low and we push back up, but we get that lower high at or below that opening print, we want to look to get into puts. First target being overnight low, second target being down here, previous low a day, lining up with last week's 50% level and the month flip, right? So probably going to see some good support there if we do get that pullback. All right, let's go to the 4-hour chart and talk about, actually, let's go to the 1 hour. I'm going to start doing the 1 hour, not just jumping straight to the 4 hour. And let's take a look at, swing. All right, more of a, a longer, maybe half a day to a full day trade. Just looking at the 1 hour chart, right? Remember, we did get this higher low here, higher low, lower high, higher low, consolidation, and then break out of the consolidation. So, for all intents and purposes, from the hour perspective, we have started a new uptrend. So even if we do pull back, just look for a bounce above this low, and we're continuing that uptrend to the upside. I bring that up because we may need to set a higher low on the 4 hour, right? We've been pushing up, we haven't set that higher low. So if we do pull back, again, we go 2 down, we've got plenty of room to make a higher low, pull back, make that higher low, and continue to push up. Now, we got the uptrend on the 4 hour, right? The 4 hour hasn't totally converted, right? We haven't got that higher low, higher high like we have on the 1 hour, but that could be there. So just talking about the 4 hour perspective, if we do breach to the downside, that gives us a 2 up, 2 down, and target entry obviously is going to be the low of the second 4 hour candle from Friday, and then the exit is going to be the low of Friday. Right, to the upside, we would have a 2 up continuation, looking for, very clear entry, obviously, but we don't have a clear exit like with a reversal, like to the downside, the 2 up, 2 down reversal. So we have to look at our major horizontal levels. So the first one I would look at is this 4380, which is the 100% fib extension of that bull flag from the April 7th low, and then looking at market makers expected move high if we just have a straight shot up, right? Looking at it from the day perspective, again, if we go 2 down on the 4 hour and run that strat of the 2 up, 2 down, if we push below that previous low a day or Friday's low a day, that then triggers this 2 up, 2 down, and we know that's one of my favorite reversals patterns because the magnitude of that move is not the low of the 1, but actually the candle to the left of the 1. So so that would take us all the way from 39.50 down here to 35.50 or 35.69. So pretty better move, better magnitude for that strat reversal. It is a reversal, so you have your clear entry, clear exit. At the same time, if we go to the upside, it's a continuation, not a reversal, unless you want to count this as just a big combo 2 down, combo 2 up, which is kind of messy. I mean, you can count it. We can look at it from the week perspective. It's just going to be a 2 down, 2 up on the week, so it's not that messy of it. And there is some thin structure here to buy back up, but at the same time, again, if we push up, it's just a continuation pattern, and we're looking for those major levels to the upside. Maybe even getting up to this 46.79 level, right? That's good. That would be a big move, $5 move. But I mean, I don't think we would make that. I think we only moved like $3 today. But you never know. We could push up, but we've got those major horizontal levels above that could keep us in check as levels of resistance, especially that 46.79. We talk about this all the time. It's resistance, resistance, a little bit of support, resistance, 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 support, support, resistance, right? So that's our major level that we've got to clear, that 46.79. It's last year's 50% level, 2024's 50% level, but it's been such a major support resistance level that we'll probably keep it on the chart, even moving into 2026. All right. So again, from the 1 day, we could have a 1, 2 up, 2 down, a lot more magnitude with that move, but we could just have a 2 up, 2 up continuation. Again, we don't get into predictions. We're just ready for, whichever way it moves. So let's go to the notes here so we can just look at the hard numbers, right? We've been looking at the charts for a while. So Monday, December 22nd, there will be 7 trading days left in 2025. The close on Friday was 41.72, And because the week isn't open yet, we don't know what would flip it red or green, but we do know that needs to be changed. Didn't do my homework there. There we go. We know that the month, quarter, and year are green. For the month to flip red, we would have to go back below 39.59, quarter 34.17, and the year 28.13. We know what the expected move is for the week. We talked about that earlier. It gives us a range of 45.23 to 38.21, and we know where our gaps above and below are at all times. We talked about from a scalping perspective, we're looking for higher lows at or above opening print to get into calls, and we're looking for lower highs at or below opening print to get into puts. And on the 4-hour time frame, right, if we breach that low to the downside, or the second 4-hour candle of Friday to the downside, that triggers a 2 up, 2 down at 41.72 with a magnitude of 39.50. And then if we go below 39.50, that triggers that 1 combo 2 up, combo 2 down, which gives us a magnitude of 38.11. Now, if we continue to the upside, that gives us a 2 up continuation, triggering at Friday's high, 42.36. And we've got some some targets of 43.80 and 44.66. We talked about on the day, if we go to the downside, that triggers that 1 2 up, 2 down at 39.50, magnitude of 35.70. Now, because we're kind of in the middle of a trend change, more kind of sideways action, that'd be a decent sized move to make in one day. Not saying we can't do it, we've done it before, but just keep in mind that it is a big move. So on the way down, we do have 38.11, 36.55 as possible bounce points. But again, the full magnitude of that move to the downside would be 35.70. Again, to the upside, we would have a 2 up continuation that would trigger at 42.36, target of 43.80, 44.46, like on the 4-hour, and then one more target of 45.47 to the upside. Now, if on the week, if we go to the downside, that would continue the 2 down, combo 2 up, combo 2 down, right? Triggering at 35.70. Magnitude of that move is 32.05 and 28.12, right? For the combo 2 up, combo 2 down, extended target 26.57. Let me just go back to the chart one time for the week just to make sure we can see that, right? Because the week really is not breaking down. Let's bring up the broadening formations. There we go. Right, we've got this, yes, we did push down, but we have this hammer candle structure, and we've got a lot of ways to go before we make a lower high. So if we just get that 2 up, right, if we go above last week's high, that locks this week, or the week of Friday, December 19th, in as a higher low, right? So that would be critical in continuing this uptrend slash, grind up, sideways action, slowly pushing up, right? So just back to the notes. Those are the triggers to the downside. Now to the upside, again, that would trigger a 2 down, 2 up at 43.42. Magnitude is 50.09. That's about a $7 move, even with bullish momentum. That's a pretty big move to make. So I do have intermediate targets here at 45.47 and 46.79. Remember that 46.79 is the 2024's 50% level. That's been such a major resistance support level for us. So that could turn us back or move us sideways before we actually reach magnitude of that 2 down, 2 up. If we do reach magnitude of the 2 down, 2 up, we've got some extended targets there. Again, that would be a huge move on a shortened holiday week. I don't really expect that to happen, but we put them out there in case. Now the month, we are green, but we're still inside, right? We haven't triggered 2 up or 2 down yet. Have to go all the way down to 28.12 to trigger the 2 down, get all the way up to 50.19 to trigger the 2 up. So still a little bit of ways to go. We could trigger that 2 up this week if we have a solid week. But again, that's not just that would be great, but the real level I want to reach is that 50.76, right? Because then that gives us a higher high on the month perspective, locking in November as a higher low, right? Talked about on the quarter, we're in this 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up, as long as we're above 36.15. Ultimate magnitude for that move is 70.08. Long ways to go. So we've got these intermediate targets to play on the way up if you want to play shorter contracts and have your 27s and 28s targeting the 70 range. You can get all your 26 contracts maybe targeting these lower levels and build up some profit a little bit faster while waiting for those 27s and 28s to continue to click up. On the year, we did trigger the 1 2 up 2 down, but we have been able to reverse it give us a nice green hammer candle on the year, also giving us a higher low on the year. Well, hopefully if we can go 2 up in 2026, I would lock this year in as a higher low, and just continue that uptrend on the year chart. So there you have it. All of the triggers and targets for everything ranging from scalps to the 1-year chart. Try to jam in as much information as we could as possible without taking up too much of your time. So we do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you made it this far, it's a free video with a lot of information. We'd just enjoy a thumbs up from you if you could. It's free, and it just really helps the channel grow. So again, we hope you enjoyed today's video and find all of the information beneficial. Leave us some comments in the on the videos. We love talking with you guys and giving deeper insight into the video if we've haven't gone deep enough into something for you. If you got other questions, let us know. If you got suggestions on how we can make the video better, that's we accept those as well. But anyways, that's what we have, and we'll go ahead and end the video here. Just like we always do. If you're watching this Friday night or Saturday or Sunday, we hope you get some good rest Sunday night, so that way you wake up refreshed on Monday morning and ready to trade. If you're watching this Monday morning, we hope you had a great weekend and some good rest on Friday night and feeling refreshed this morning, and we look forward to getting out there and trading with you.